So hello again. Um, I think it's the second video I'm making. I've made more videos, but it's the second video I will be sharing probably. Which showed middle of night, so nobody could be mind control hijacking us or disturbing the peace. Although the Brooklyn, Massachusetts sound making devices went off once I got here. Um, yes. So my name is Malkan Abozari. Malkan Abozari. Makanabazari, and I've been running your work for since 2016 and 2010 to 2013, and between I was like not doing much. So let's start with weather warfare. Weather warfare is one of the main problems of our world. Like if we could solve the problems caused by weather warfare, we would have had been we would have been years and years ahead. See, America in like 1950, 1945 started using weather warfare, which is basically tests on magnetic pulses sent to the magnetosphere, and pull and push the magnetosphere and cause high pressure, low pressure, and blocks. You could produce like a condition in which the air cannot move. So rainy seasons are dry because the wind or rain systems are not capable of passing these zones they produce with the weather warfare. It started 70 years ago, and its primary targets were North Africa, Great Sahara, Middle East, Iran, um, Central Asia, Tibet, Inner Mongolia. Siberia also was turned cold with different means, like it's same band of like desert you see across our planet. Also Saudi Arabia and Yemen and Horn of Africa. This band of desert you see in our planet used to be bustling with life, with settlements, cities, towns, cultures, interconnectivity, production, industrial areas, and like food production, rainforest, tropical, lake, marshes, levees, farmings. But they were dried over years and years and years, like last 70 years. We don't even remember how it was like outside of our town 10 years ago. It used to be like in Brooklyn, Massachusetts during the fall. It turned yellow, red, and different colors, orange for the. Am I recording? Yes, for the leaves, but now it doesn't turn these colors, and people slowly forget, and then they burn the books. It's very very normal for mind control and the people who run our earth to burn down the books. For example, we have a dam on Nile River in Ethiopia. 30 years from now, they will burn down the books that mention Nile in Egypt and say the Nile was in like Germany or Nile was in I don't know, Mississippi was Nile. Something things like this, and they have been slowly doing these things to our planet to the point that Sahara, Great Sahara, is comes from the same word, Sahara. Sahara means magicians or sorceress. Sahara, Sahara. So even the people who experience these deserts at first call them a magic, a form of magic or sorcery, and slowly the dry deserts and the oases. But you don't even see oases in Saudi Arabia, Iran, or Great Sahara. Oases have also disappeared. This has been so continuous that underground waters are also disappeared. This caused like 3 billion people die. A biosphere. You know what is a biosphere? Our Earth has a biosphere. It died. It died. A biosphere, like a species, animals, something like Amazon rainforest. Something like this has been destroyed, but much more expansive area, and where the animals used to, immigrate, move across the planet and meet in the central locations. The marshes then later, disappeared. Marshes the areas that were like protected, those also disappeared. No, migrant birds cannot even nest and produce. We have lost a biosphere to United States greed, because United States wanted east and west. Because America is behind the oceans, and when you're behind the oceans, it's central regions of the earth, Middle East, Great Sahara, North Africa, Egypt, Central Asia, India, functioning well economically and culturally and other means, then America will not prosper because America is behind the sea and needed to be more powerful than everybody else, or we call it greed or desire for control or supremacy. And they killed 3 billion people, a biosphere. and they still continue doing this. Now I have my own weather codes. I can make earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, and tornadoes, and I can also make fires and spread those with tornadoes as it goes. But what is important is I'm not here to destroy shit. I'm not here to destroy America, so America learns to not do it to others. I'm here to fix this environment, and they're not letting us doing it. They are not even delivering the orders and messages I'm giving them concerning the environment. I need the environment fixed. Do you understand this? I need this environment fixed, and it is a very, very large area of our Earth. See, the sea levels would go down if we let these systems return, the actual natural system of our Earth. Because deserts in Great Sahara, desert in Middle East, desert in Central Asia, Tibet, Inner Mongolia, they can hold so much water. There are seas, lakes, and levees, and then there is underground water. This would reduce the level of sea levels by a couple of several meters. Just letting the places that were filled with water and not our sands be filled with water again. Then there is Tibet and Himalaya, and there is ice caps. Those also will hold so much water. Why they are disappearing? Why they have disappeared? It's like 50 years now. Like Jammu and Kashmir was just a small area of the place that used to have a snow and it would melt down and come down, and fill up the lakes and marshes and rivers and all of this. But those ice caps on Himalaya and other regions are also dried. There is no ice cap anymore. If you go and look, they have changed. And maybe 20 years ago they had some level of ice in them, but now they are fully dried. So there is also carbon. We have a cult started by what's his name? What's his name? Al Gore. Al Gore started a cult of carbon. CO2 level is going higher, so we have global warming. What the hell? What's CO2? The global warming, all of these issues is because you are thickening the magnetosphere of the Earth, so gamma rays pass through and cause, change of the color in trees. You know, from Ireland looking trees, they become, Iranian looking trees or Indian looking trees because the gamma rays pass through thicker layer of magnetosphere. And the carbons, it's just a call to reduce the productivity and industrial production of the Earth. Like, we need to be in a clean energy. Why? Because it's competition with American industrial capabilities. America is not part of the Paris Agreement. It's for the rest of the Earth. And the rest of the Earth is supposed to not produce carbon, but why America is producing it? It's just because they don't want others to industrialize. And industrialization is so easy. One day I will teach you how easy it is to industrialize. And then there is carbon. Now we say carbon. Well, uh, why am I not in focus anymore? About carbon. We can store carbon in biosphere again. If we have trees, very desert, and when there is nothing, just dry, these trees, can absorb CO2 and put it in form of leaves, or in form of like animals who eat these leaves, and humans who will be living along with these trees and animals. That's the best way to store the carbon. The CO2 will be living things, biomass, and the biomass dies and goes underground and becomes oil, or it becomes coal, or it becomes just our soil. The best way to store the carbon is America stopping the weather warfare on the rest of the earth. Then we will be able to store CO2 more than we ever produce. We can put all of this CO2 into biomass. That's the big problem of our Earth. Because our biomass is no longer biomass. It's just, you know, we need to produce biomass. Biomass. Now that I'm getting mind control hijacked, sorry. Yeah, just so you make jungles, and jungles have or rainforest, or tropical area, and the animals start being more common, and these animals are made out of carbon. The biological things are made out of carbon. You know, so CO2 being absorbed by trees and ate by animals become storing carbons in the biomass, and just life, life. This is actually killing 2 billion people. You could have done lots of other things. I'm just telling the Uncle Sam that was around these 7 years ago and fucking around with dollars, motherfuckers. And then there's other things. Now, we see different countries have different, prosperity, industrial level, and capability to produce things, be more, more, precise in engineering things, more capable in succeeding, governing their countries, and having nicer buildings, nicer cities, nicer towns, nicer designs, But other countries look, disorganized. Like, people are not respecting the laws. Everybody's messing around with everything, and buildings look ugly and bad perception. And the perception you take from these buildings are wrong perceptions, and feels bad. And goddamn, stop distracting me. Um, the way the societies are run, the government are run, the way that like businesses run, the success of even businesses, the capability to engineer airplanes, jet, and spaceships, the capability to make ships and submarines, electronics, semiconductors. Why some countries are not able to do this? We have passed the era where these things were hard for some countries. We say there was colonization, and then took time to catch up, but it's easy to catch up. I can help you to build all of these. It's not even hard. Why they're not capable of doing it? It's because of mind control now. Mind control happens with the same type of waves that makes them better warfare. Magnetic and electromagnetic waves. They are synthetically sending thoughts, feelings, and emotions to your brain by sending these waves, and then it becomes a nerve activity in your brain and forms an abstract thought, a feeling of tiredness, feeling of happiness, feeling of love, feeling of being horny, or feeling of being, successful, feeling of being right, feeling of, nationalism, or thought about an abstract thought to do something, or listening to the news and, perceiving that different things, or getting more information than said, and you think, oh, I'm so smart, I got the fucking trick they're trying to do. But no, you didn't get the trick. They send you via wave because they want to influence your thought, or they want you to learn it. So there's lots of things. I get lots of information myself. If not in America, I don't get much information. I get sabotage. Um. So yeah, Brooklyn, Massachusetts constantly. I don't know who distracts me. Sabotages my absorption of information. Um. So why these countries are not advancing? Because America causes corruption, causes mismanagement, causes inability to produce, and this is another reason we have the world problem. By the way, it's a United Nations General Assembly, and they've been having such meetings today. And this General Assembly, I cannot be there, but I'm the King of Kings, and I need to produce a speech, so it's my speech, and I'm getting my control hijacked. Yeah, so it was UN General Assembly today, and I wrote a bunch of stuff for you guys to read. Hopefully, you find it on my blogs or on my Facebook or other means of distribution. I have people who distribute information for me, so there's also this. Um, then we have so this mind control and these different ways of sabotaging different nations, different people, or different cultures from advancing is one part of it. Then if these cultures start advancing, because there is separation barrier between mind control groups, so some group can help their own people to advance in certain areas, but then we have American means of sabotaging these, which is American exclusivities, such as dollar. So America cuts you out of financial system, and the naturally born, or spontaneous industries that start in the countries start to be unable to trade, start to be able to trade with other countries, and unable to import, export, or be part of the global system because they're sanctioned now, they cannot trade. Or the dollar could be manipulated so Turkey cannot function now, its economy is getting harmed. Or America does the same thing to Brazil, while at the same time makes protests, instability in governments, and overthrows with mind control, mass mind control, and the countries cannot be competing or getting higher echelon of economic orders. So other American exclusivity would be so dollar currency. Then there is semiconductor technology, so they don't let Chinese get it. I'm not giving it to you. So China cannot. ZTE goes bankrupt. There is a cell phone company. I don't know if future watching this still exists. Say that consumerism, translated into cars and electronics, cell phones, the semiconductors. That's the era. It's the consumerism of our era. Now, for about cars, like cars are very easy to produce. Why not so many countries are producing those? They're doing it, but they're not exporting them because they're not well produced. No, because the precision engineering, and when you're mind controlled to do your job correctly, you do it correctly. Or if you are allowed to do it, you do it perfectly. But when they sabotage in the middle of construction of engineering of the cars, or when you are assembling it, um, it becomes lower quality than the one that Japanese produce, or lower quality than the one the Koreans, Germans, or Americans produce. So your cars are not competitive because they're not as good because America sabotaged them during the engineering, during the manufacturing, and during assembly. Now one of the tricks is you can have robotics. You cannot fight with robotics. Robotics are not humans. So if you don't have firewalls, they can send waves and can mind control us. But if our robotics are by wires and no Wi-Fi, so they're secure and they can do their things without being disturbed by mind control. So robotics is the way to go if you are having problems with precision engineering, cars, advanced manufacturing, and things like this. Another problem our world has is reliance on American economy. American economy is very, very large. Now, I don't want to teach you stuff that you should not learn because then Americans learn and go and fix it. See, I know World War there are things that Americans themselves do not know because the era that was America mind controlling everyone has become America has become different groups of mind control, producing separation barrier and protection. So if I tell you something that you should not be learning, and somebody who should not be knowing this, learning this, and then goes and pressure the influential pressure the mind control has to do it. So we have separation of information in this world. Like I know things that if America knows, American mind control knows, but if the people around the mind control know, who can influence the mind control, then the global order breaks. So there is separation of information in our Earth also. So engineers of airplanes, jets, and nuclear facilities are separated from people who do biology and the people who do politics. So it's a very important thing to remember. That's why I cannot teach you everything. What am I saying anyway? Oh, but like American economy is very large, and global system is dependent on America and export and trade with America to survive. Because America has again made it east and west, Western Europe, Germany and beyond, and South Korea, Japan, and later China added Taiwan. They're trading with America, and they're exporting to America, and doing trade with America. So without America, these things cannot survive. So one of the ways to end our addiction on America is developing Middle East. Middle East is the most important part of the Earth because it connects our fucking Earth on land and on sea because all the ships have to go through Red Sea and Suez Canal. Every ship has to go through it unless you're going to China or Western Europe from America. Other ones from Western Europe to China, which has a lot of shipping traffic, has to go through Red Sea, Suez Canal, and then every land travel has to happen through Iran. From Africa to China, from India to Europe, and from Russia to India, and from Russia to even Africa. So that's why Middle East is very important. If we develop Middle East like Iran, Turkey, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, or South Asia, but we call it Middle East, Iraq and Turkey and Syria, then we will have another system that can have some of these exports done to them and trade have could be done with them, and then the reliance of the world and American economy be lowered. Now America has been nagging about Trump has been nagging us why we are we have trade deficit, why we are not importing as much as we are exporting as much as we are importing, why we have like deficit, and everybody is like he says everybody is cheating us in America. It's not the case. It's because America needs the earth for the current world order to continue. Otherwise, if America starts trading with everyone, then nobody export to America, and the other parts of theirs start growing also. In order for Trump strategy to be successful, we need a Middle Eastern economy functioning and successful. So some of the export done to America is done to Middle East, while Middle East itself become part of global industrial supply chain and other industries, thus trading with the rest of Earth, both producing profit, becoming more industrialized, and American reliance of the world on America also reduces. Then we can have what Trump wants. But Trump comes and sanctions Iran and blocks the fucking advancement of Middle East by causing mass mind control. Iraqis protesting, extending the civil war, mind control terrorists in Afghanistan to America does this. Yes, America mind controls all the terrorists in the world in Afghanistan to kill people. So the progress of theirs also stopped. And then we are trying to make peace between Pakistan and India. I am trying. I am very powerful and I am very influential. America comes and does a terror attack in India, sorry, in Jammu and Kashmir, and then Indian and Pakistani talks is stalled. So what is Trump's strategy? You just want to fuck with the other economies and get away with it? I don't think you can get away with that. You cannot even get away with the weather warfare you done. You got away, but I'm here, powerful. We hit you with weather codes and stuff, so you cannot fuck with the weather environment of the Earth anymore. You need to fix these Earths, all of these Earths. And also we need East Africa. So we have another trade system other than Middle East that is land-based, which is sea-based, which becomes Saudi Arabia, North Africa, South Southern Europe, Eastern Africa, and then there is Horn of Africa, then there is ASEAN, then there is India and Southeast Asia. These can also trade with each other. Now there is Mediterranean based, and then there is Indian Ocean based, which also includes Middle East. And this system can also trade with each other and develop. But when you look, you see East Asia, East Africa is also underdeveloped. Why East Africa is underdeveloped? Because America doesn't want anything, aside from the two corners of Eurasia and Africa being developed. So, the center is kept weak synthetically. So the same way Yemen, Somalia, Ethiopia, Sudan, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Kenya. What is the other one? Oh, there's another one. Kenya. What is the other one? Uganda are kept like weak, and Middle East also kept weak by civil wars and other problems. Um, these are because America wants to keep the central region weak. But America has changed. There are better people now in power, but they are mind controlled and they don't even know why they are sanctioning countries. Why are they sanctioning Iran? Because Iran has a nuclear deal I do not like. Why? Why do you do not like it? Because they're in Syria. I'm going to be in Syria for 1,000 years. You don't like me in Syria? I'm going to be in there for 1,000 years. I fought for Syria with Romans for 1,000 years. I fought for Syria with Greek for 1,000 years. I fought with Egyptians for Syria for 1,000 years. And I will fight with you, America, also for another 1,000 years. I have been there continuously for 3,000 years. So I'm going to be in Syria. There is this. Um, yeah. So what else? Nothing. We just want to sanction them so they cannot do trade and stuff, and economic and land-based trade system doesn't survive. But Trump doesn't know this. Trump is nuclear something and Syria. Yeah, that's Trump fucking conclusion of Trump idea about Iran. Have all anti-Iran people in there and not letting us to do our world order corrections by sanctioning Iran, making a roadblock at the crossroads of civilization, crossroads of trade, land trade. We cannot have this sanction continue. I start breaking your America into multiple nations of former United States. Remember this. I'm far more powerful than you may think, than you may imagine. So it's, no, we need these problems of our Earth corrected and solved. For example, we need environment of Middle East, North Africa, Great Sahara, Horn of Africa, Central Asia, Tibet, Inner Mongolia, Siberia fixed. And it's very easy. No, it takes calculation and it takes time. But I don't see rain. I just saw fucking some some storm in Tunisia, nothing else. I need Great Sahara becoming seas and rainforest, not some fucking storm in Tunisia or some storm on Oman. I also need industrial supply chains. So I need investment in Turkey, in Iraq, in Syria, in Pakistan, and I need them in form of industries and capabilities that are sustainable. But sustainability doesn't come to Middle East. Sustainability is for jungles in Africa or South America. Sustainability starts from America, other places. Middle East needs to advance and become a big part of global industrial supply chain. Now we have also Chinese and stuff, economic orders and trade and the numbers and the patterns and industrial supply chains. We manage those. Don't worry about those. We got those, all of those. Every single manufacturing industry, parts, supplies, materials, petrochemicals, assembling of materials, and high-end products, consumer goods, all of this. We got all of this managed, but we need this mind control or world order gridlock over our earth to be removed, so we can have another one placing. Because the last one was the genocidal war machine of USA. No, we don't want to talk about World War II. We do not want to talk about what happens. But America killed 3 billion by weather warfare alone, and then came into the Middle East and destroyed the buildings. Buildings were not domes. It wasn't sand. These are not even 70 years old, and they sell it to people as historic artifact. They destroyed metropolitans. First Manhattan was in Iran. Did you know this? In Bandar Abbas? Yes, was the first Manhattan. 1929 was built. The second Manhattan was in New York. Was built in 1947, 48, and the third Manhattan now is in China. Middle East was full of metropolitans, high rises, very beautiful stone buildings, very beautiful cities. Which what do you call this? Like roof is like this. My English isn't perfect. Yeah, but now they made into the domes. And Roman columns were in Middle East like very common, but they destroyed all the buildings with bulldozer, with hydrogen bombs, with earthquakes, weather codes, and with mind control people. destroying their own sheds, or tractors coming and bulldozers, or bombing, or mind controlling them to not see. Lots of years, lots of years, lots of years. Now, yeah, Earth is like, more conscious. Mm. Earth is paying more attention now. But still, there is a, gridlock of, information. See, social media was nice. We got access to the places and people we didn't have. But now there is like also segregation on social media. Social media became a legacy now. It used to be way of communicating, but now it's also segregated and used for, mass manufacturing people. Things like, Cambridge Analytica is just a, lamp to this. Others are far more evil, like social media establishments, just connecting people via media and mind controlling them to influence opinion and manipulate the politics. The people who ran the politics cannot run the politics anymore. It's like social media, internet folks, and I am the only force against them. Yeah, I order them no overthrow and they stop the overthrow. Or I tell them support this guy and they support this guy and they win. Or I tell them overthrow this one and they overthrow this one. And I have conquered your earth 3 rounds over in defense, in offense, and in protection. But the situation of our Earth is the same thing. So I don't see even our success in overthrowing things. It's been like about half a decade that I don't see our victory in overthrowing. I'm defending, I'm protecting because regime change is not important. The problem is the mind control on the people, the waves, the magnetic waves that hits our heads and makes us make decisions. And this current world order does not let us to solve the problems of our Earth. This constant overthrowing and changing the regimes does not solve our problems, and they are bad for our Earth because the people who drew the line made this country a dictator and they made this other country a democracy because they knew of dangers of mind control and they had protection for these countries and peoples by the way that they designed the system. Now these constantly going after overthrow this country, those countries, all the other countries, not only is dangerous for the stability of the world, it is disturbing the balance of power, and we cannot trust America with the balance of power or future of any nation because America doesn't care. America doesn't even have the capability or political independence for itself. See, I made Trump president by supporting him. I can make anybody president of his own country if they are part of the competition, and so I made Trump president. It's not even much, man. My resume is like hundreds of kings and presidents. So, um, but they didn't. He was our victory in democracy. It was the first time democracy won against preset presidents because America had preset presidents that are raised from birth, and we won it, and we brought Trump, and then we see all of the deep state media comes attacking Trump, and then Trump comes attack my capital, Iran. Yes, I have a cap. I had Egypt first, but they came with a coup, and prison all of my assets and all of my knights are in prison now in Egypt. So I moved my capital to Iran, and I conquered the whole earth for it. And it's, yeah, but Trump came and sanctioned my Iran. And then the same way that we were going to use Trump to solve our Earth's problem, our world order, they use him in a way that made the situation more complicated because he's also mind controlled. The presidents are mind controlled. I am mind controlled. See, I have privileges that gives me access to information. I have privileges that gives me power to order you, order lots of mind controllers and people around, while being unknown by everyone. But the problem is, even I am mind controlled. Even the president is mind controlled. Even the people who mind control others are mind controlled by a software that mind controls all of us. My name is Makan Abazari. Makan Abazari. Makanaabazari. You want me to write that? Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Ow! Can you read this? So yeah, Makan Abazari and the below is the Farsi. And that's all it is. I think there's nothing else left. And for the board leaders in UN General Assembly, I know you're not gonna get this message. Some of you may see this, some of you may not see this. We need to come together and find a solution about mind control. We need protected societies, protected neighborhoods. Like in every town and every city, we need you know, some housing that are protected from mind control. A library and a school protected from mind control. Shelter for people. And places of worship protected from mind control. and we need it in every city, every town, and in every village. Is impossible for every village. And we also need societies that are not mind controlled because we lost our humanity. I want to see if all of the world leaders together, right now in New York, that's not, yeah, that's not, in New York, can come together and manage a system of making Faraday cages, earth with earth wires and then a plate, a metal plate, this size, copper and or aluminium, and it's a little bit thick is better. And if it's rough surfaces, make it difficult to spy from beyond the wall. Um, and make these Faraday cages in every town and city so we can have some sort of protection for some people. Because there are evil mind control groups that go and abuse people. And they can also take shelter if they are being victim of abuse. But they don't have the balls to, sorry, it became rude at the end, to abuse me because I break them. My name is Makana Abazari, the King of Kings.